Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Dr.Bhawani Sankaradhikari. Today, he has brought a new essay that is entitled as What I Require from Life. It is grade 11 English, written by J.B.S. Halden, who was a scientist, who was just a scholar, politician, and even the British citizen. He was born in India, and later he went in Britain, and he was a British citizen. He became British naturalized citizen. He joined in army, and then just he fought in the First World War, and later just he returned in India to die because he did not like capitalist country, and he was a socialist. He believed in communist ideas, and he was against of capitalism. What I Require from Life is an essay written by J.B.S. Halden. It reveals socialistic conviction demanding democratic activities in workplaces. The writer has said that he was born at a peaceful age because there was no war at the time. But he had to go to the First World War in 1914 as a British soldier. He had been living in a heroic age, of killing and being killed. So he thought that it was the time of being heroic. He wanted to be hero by fighting in the war and killing many enemies. He thought he would die in the war, and he had no hope of living in the next era of peace. He had the love of nothing except food, water, clothes, and shelter. What he required in his life were only four things. They are work, freedom, health, and friendship. Work should be with a decent wage, good wage. It must be hard but interesting work with enough fruits. He felt that he was exceptionally lucky because he could choose his work to a large extent. He was a scientist, writer, soldier, and he could make even the political speeches. So these were different choices of his work. Others were not as lucky as he was in the case of work because they could not select others their own choices of work. So he realized he was luckier than other people. So he enjoyed a good deal of freedom, and more than most people, he enjoyed more freedom because he was a politician, he was a soldier, he was a writer, he used to write stories, and he was a scientist. So he enjoyed a lot of freedom. He needed greater freedom for the freedom of speech than others. He realized himself and said he needed greater freedom. He did not mind being sick for 7 or 8 years, being toothache, having toothache. That was not a great problem. But he wanted to be fit for work and enjoyment in the intervals and die when he could not work. He did not want to leave when he was unable to work. He wanted friendship among his colleagues, means friends, without giving and receiving any commands. He did not want to receive the commands and he did not want to give the commands even to other people. He wants a society of equals who will criticize him and whom he can criticize. It means he wanted the criticism even from his juniors to him, and he wanted criticize even to seniors. There should be no gap between senior and junior. This all should be equal as friendship or friends. He cannot be a good friend. He cannot be a friend whose orders he has to obey without criticism, and he is against his orders to be obeyed in the same way by his juniors. So his friendship is possible to establish only with those with whom he does not have to obey silently the command and order of the seniors, and he did not want to give any order to the juniors, right? That was what kind of democratic work, democratic feeling. The four things are the fourth means okay, fourth, not four. Four things means fourth. That is wrong. FORT is four things are, or other things are general human needs. He has the love of adventures and thrills. All the things he desires are not his demands. They are only his desires. They cannot be fulfilled. They are not necessary to fulfill too. He likes to have a room of his own with some books. This is his wish, desires, but not demands. He wanted to have a motor car and a daily bath. He wants daily bath. He likes to have a garden, a rich bathing pool, a beach, and a river with easy reach, right? But he knows that most people are not getting what he is getting in the world. So he cannot be happy while others are unhappy. He becomes happy only when other people are happy. He thinks that in Holland, in Russia, and in Spain, where communism was there, when communist government was there, he thought there was freedom. There was all these things applied and found, and they were happy. They were enjoying a job and other things. But he thought that in other capitalist countries, such happiness, such facilities, delights, and other these jobs and basic requirements were not given to the people. So he wanted to be, and just have the communism throughout the world. He would become happy only when communism would start in the world. He wants to see healthy men and women on the planet at work, not unhealthy men. All men and women must be healthy at work. He thought that people were employed in communist countries but not in capitalist countries. So he wanted to establish communism throughout the world. He wants the workers to see the fruit of their own work, not in profits for others. Generally, he thought that in communism, working in the factory means working by the laborers themselves. But in capitalism, working in the factory means working for the profit of others, investors. So he does not want the profit to go in the investors. He wants the profit to come in the hands and pocket of the workers. The fruits of their works must be for their own and for their friends. That is what he says. The fruits, whatever the workers have to get from their works, must be for their own, and that must be for their friends, for their well beings of the friends, for the happiness of the friends, but not for the happiness of the investors and the capitalist, industrialist. That is his belief. Most works are dull, but he thinks that work must be pleasant. Most of the works in the world are in the factory are quite dull, and in his belief, work must be pleasant, loving, quite interesting. Freedom should begin in the workshop, he believes. That is his belief. He wants to see every man and woman being healthy as much as possible in the world. He becomes happy when capitalism is overthrown and the workers in power in most of Europe come. When workers come, when laborers come in power, when government comes in power, and he becomes happy. He thinks that peace is peace uh, and security. This is easy is wrong, please. Typing mistake, correct it. He thinks that peace in and security, not ease. And security is futile, means meaningless to hope, because when there is a war, there is no possible to get the security. And and to gain hope and gain because war is going on at the time. He thinks that peace and security is meaningless, useless to hope and even to gain, because it is the time of war. It was the time of war. He was in the first World War, and during the time of war, peace and security was only the dream. That is what he thinks. He thinks that the perfect peace is impossible till fascism is dead. At last he wants to die, the natural death, but not like that of Socrates, who died laughing by taking the poison. He thinks that Socrates made a mistake. He should not have taken the poison. He should not have died the way he died. And he does not want to die like Socrates. He wants to die with natural death. The writer has brought the communist ideology as the best one in life. He is against of capitalist ideology. He always supports communist belief, and he thinks that the world must be ruled by the communist, must be ruled by the communist ideology and communist thought. and in his belief in only in communist thought and communist ideology ruled in the country can be best, can be good for the people, can be supportive for the people, and there is possible to have freedom, possible to have health, possible to have work and good friends. That is what he has believed. And this is his concept of socialism, communism, against of against okay, capitalism. So this essay has brought the real picture what communism should be, what capitalism is against the communist ideology, and his ideas are directly or indirectly related with communist ideology, communist belief, and communist thoughts, and pleads for communism to all the workers and the leaders of the world. Okay, this is the idea of what is required in life for the essayist. Thank